Hi, I'm Blake Repine, and welcome to Strategy, Leadership, and Impact. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. It's been a little while, but got some exciting news. During the break that I've been taking from the podcast, I've actually been working on my first book. It's called Soldier to Executive, Applying Army Leadership Principles in the Corporate World. And it's just a way for me to share my own leadership principles that I've developed over my career to date with the world. And I'm proud to say that that book has been published. It's currently, well, at the time of this recording anyway, it's currently available from Amazon.com in the US. And hopefully soon it'll be available on Amazon.com.au here in Australia and also on Amazon in the UK. It's going out to multiple distributors, so Booktopia, Fish Pond, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc. In print version. And then the ebook version will be out hopefully within the next week or so. So by the time you're listening to this, it could be across all the distributor outlets. But anyway, just really proud to finally accomplish that. It's been a lifelong goal to publish a book, and now it's there. And I've actually started working on my second book. It's not titled at this time, but I'm hoping it'll be out probably the end of October to the end of November of this year, which is currently 2020. And really looking forward to that again and planning even more books. So have quite a good process down, and hopefully we can continue on with the momentum and keep sharing that knowledge with the world. So anyway, on to this week's topic. And really what I want to talk about is using your authority responsibly. It's a subject that's actually come up through a number of, situations that I've had to deal with recently. And what I mean by using your authority responsibly, it's understanding the authority that your position carries. As you become more senior in an organization, you become an executive or senior executive or even a board member. Sometimes as a board member, you don't necessarily carry a lot of authority operationally, but you still do. And even as an executive, your position just in itself, just by its nature, carries an immense amount of authority over those that fall under your umbrella of your portfolio or your umbrella of authority. And how you, yield that authority or exercise that authority makes a big difference. I can remember one point when I was in the Army, someone made the statement to me. They said, if they outrank you, so if they're in a higher position than you, they can't disrespect you. Basically, they can treat you however they want. It doesn't matter. But you obviously have to treat them with respect so that it didn't go both ways. And I found this to be ridiculous because it does go both ways. You always want to treat people with dignity and respect, regardless of their position, regardless of the situation. It doesn't matter. You always treat people with dignity and respect because that's just the right thing to do. It's a professional thing to do. But also, too, one of the instances I've had to deal with is actually whenever you ask someone to do something versus telling them. When you're in a position of authority in that senior executive role, asking someone to do something is exactly the same as telling them. It's just in a nicer way. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of times, let's say you're the chief operating officer, chief executive officer, chief financial officer, or senior director, senior executive, whatever, and you go ask someone to do something, they most oftentimes feel like they don't have the authority or they're not in a position to say no. And so you have to be careful around asking someone or telling someone, and in particular in dealing with someone in a position of authority asked someone who worked for them, a very junior person, to do something that actually had an element of unethical behavior in it. And that very junior person actually made the statement to me, I felt like I couldn't say no. That if they said no, there would be repercussions. They could lose their job. They would be reprimanded in some way. There was fear there. They felt like they couldn't say no. And then going back to that senior person, their response was, well, I asked them if they didn't want to do it, they should have said no. Again, wrong answer. One, as senior executives, we should never put someone in a position to where they have to make an ethical decision or a decision where it's going to compromise, whether or not to compromise their integrity. That is completely wrong from a leadership standpoint to ever put somebody who is subordinate to you in a position to have to make a decision like that. If you are doing that, that is unethical on your part. And quite frankly, you shouldn't even be in a leadership role if you're going to ask that of your people. Yes, sometimes there may be gray areas and things like that, but you're the one that needs to make the decision. You're the one that determines the way forward, and you're the one that needs to shoulder the responsibility, not the junior person. Don't make them the sacrificial lamb. Don't throw them under the bus. Don't ever put them in a position to where they have to choose. And that also brings up a whole nother part, I guess, is cultivating a culture within your organization or within your team of openness and transparency where people can be honest. That way, whenever you do go ask someone, well, one, people will recognize that I know this leader, I have trust in them, or they've developed this air of openness and transparency, and also they have an openness about ethical behavior and acting with integrity and things like that. So they know, well, they're probably never going to ask me something that is going to compromise my integrity or become some sort of ethical dilemma, because that's just the type of leader that they are. Also, having the culture of openness where someone can say no, or at least ask questions whenever you ask them a question. Well, why do I have to do this? Do I have to do it this way? Is this necessary? Or could this potentially put me in some sort of compromising position? Being able to respond to you in that way. And the only way you're ever going to build that culture like that is by doing. People have to see that. You can tell people all day long, oh, I'm ethical. Oh, I act with integrity. Oh, I lead with the utmost values and things like that. But until they see it in action, they're not going to really believe it. And the first time you go and you ask someone to compromise their integrity and you put them in a position like that, you have lost all credibility. All credibility. And to regain that will take a ton of work if you're ever able to regain that trust back again. But the way you don't lose that trust is to never put people in that position. Anyway, curious to see what your thoughts are. If you have any comments, questions, or anything else you'd like to discuss further in regard to this topic, please feel free to contact me. Again, you can connect with me through LinkedIn. Just search my name, Blake Repine. You can also send me an email, blakerepine@gmail.com. And let's connect. Let's talk. Love to hear your thoughts. Talk to you next time. Have a good one.